in one study by National Institute of Oceanography, Goa, they just studied 1 kilometer of Goan beach, and they could recover 1 ton of single-use plastics from
Yes.
that 1 kilometer stretch.
Yes. Unfortunately, we are recycling 10% of the plastics.
Only.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
And 90% of the plastics actually, either it is landfilled or either it end up in sea. Whole business or all companies are doing business for making money.
But one of the reasons why plastic is so famous, it is pliable. It can be taken to any shape, any form. So there's no other natural material which is as pliable as plastic. So can you just tell us how this corporate, the sustainability practice is happening in the industry, and what are the major concerns, challenges they are facing?
Actually, whole business or all companies are doing business for making money.
Definitely.
And without money, they cannot run this business. But from a nature point of view, we need to follow a sustainable way. And what I understand is, on a long term, we can earn enough money or whatever,
And also care for the environment.
And on the other hand, not only on a long term, because on short term you may not get enough profit by going in a natural or sustainable material. But on long term you can have, enough money. And also on the other hand, you can preserve your environment. And that is actually the need of our hour.
So you must also be aware of the, in business sense, we have something called the triple bottom line approach. So where we look at the planet, people and profits. So people that is what we all, how industries are caring for the health of the people. Then we went into profits. So first I think it's profits, then it came to people, and then now we are looking at planet. How do we care for the planet? Because unless the planet is there, we won't be able to enjoy the benefits of this planet. So John Elkington in the triple bottom line theory, and so that is very effective in thinking about this. Now, sir, what I would also like to understand is, do you think all these corporate efforts at sustainability have a basic chemical engineering background, or is it based on research, or is it just based on the marketing efforts? So what is your opinion?
No, actually it is based on the people's needs. People's need. Because my understanding is that people need environmentally sustainable materials. So they are interested with the environmentally sustainable materials. So rather than traditional materials. So I believe the companies will be forced to come to these environmentally sustainable materials, for their applications.
Sir, you must also be aware that United Nations, in its Paris Convention, Earth Conference, in Paris in 2015, they came up with this sustainable development goals. And where they said that the Earth, we want to restrict the heating up of the Earth to less than 2 degrees centigrade by 2099. So I don't know how we will reach, whether we will exceed 2 degrees or something. But do you think these sustainable development goals, 17 numbers, are they really, and I think SDG 11 is relating to climate action and all. So is it really beneficial in containing this climate change and harmful emissions?
Actually the thing is, we need to reduce the carbon footprint, or on the other hand, we need to reduce the emission of carbon dioxide. So for that, rather than going, in the case of plastic based materials or polymer based materials or rubber based materials, according to what we believe as a scientist in polymer based material, so what I believe is, we have to go with the natural materials. rather than going with petroleum-based materials. The problem is when you go with petroleum-based plastics, you are emitting more carbon dioxide. You are generating more heat. So in one way or other way, you are, rising the sea level.
Also, the petroleum reserves are getting depleted.
Yeah, that is the other reason. So these are the concerns we have. So the the sea level increase and increasing the temperature.
Global temperature rise and all those things.
Yeah, all those things.
We are also talking of scope 1, scope 2, scope 3.
Yes.
And scope 4 emissions.
Yes.
Scope 1 emissions, as I told, is basically based on a company's output. What energy it needs to produce the output and what are the emissions related to. Scope 2 is relating to its use of energy of the same company. Scope 3 relates to the energy used by its supply chain partners, both the supply end and the distribution end. Okay. And scope 4, which is more related to how carbon emissions can be offset. All corporate sustainability should now focus more on this fourth priority than the first one, second and third priorities. What is your opinion?
Yeah, I also agree with you, because the emission of carbon dioxide, that is one of the that we need to reduce. So because the greenhouse gases in one way or other way deplete our environment. Either you need to come up with new methodologies or technologies so that you can reduce the production
emission of these gases, which affect the environment.
And also what, as I already told, if you go with the traditional materials, you are emitting more energy. And also you are emitting carbon dioxide, you are emitting heat, etc. In one way or other way, you are depleting the environment. On the other hand, if you go with natural materials, one of the advantages, the amount of carbon dioxide emission is less.
Okay.
And the other thing is, you need less energy for manufacturing.
Okay.
But unfortunately, whatever we have or whatever product we are making from these natural materials, if you look into the performance, it is little bit behind, or it is nowhere near the traditional materials. So that is actually one concern we have. But there are different methods available so that we can improve the performance of natural-based materials.
Natural-based materials. Sir, in our discussions before, I think you are also referring to a new term which is really new to me, nanoplastics. So can you throw some light on nanoplastics, what it is and how it is?
Actually, this nanoplastics is this nano materials that is too small in size that we cannot see with our naked eye. But if you look into these nanomaterials or nanoparticles, since it is very small in size, we have many number of atoms at the surface. Or in other hand, we can tell that the surface atoms are more in nanomaterials. So therefore its functionality is different. So we don't have any equipment available to look into the details of the functionality of this nanomaterials. It's very complicated.
Okay.
Yes, of course we have some technologies available, but again it is very difficult.
So we know that nanoplastics are there, but we don't know what is its effect.
What is its effect? What is its impact?
Okay.
And also, suppose if it enter inside our body, what is the consequence? We don't know exactly. So during
is it carcinogenic? We don't know.
We don't know exactly. But as I already during our discussion earlier, I already told gold nanoparticles. So that is used for cancer treatment. It can be used for cancer treatment.
Okay.
But the problem is we don't know what is the after effect. So that's the reason why, it was invented long back, 20 years before. So gold nanoparticles can be used for cancer treatment. And the methodology is very simple. And we can identify these cancer cells. And we can easily kill these cancer cells with gold nanoparticles. But we don't know what is the consequences, or whether it is deposited or, in our body parts, and what will be the effect, after effect, that we don't know. So similarly, similar to these metal nanoparticles, plastic nanoparticles also, in one way or other way, it may create some issues, but we don't know exactly.
We don't know.
How
unless the field of nanotechnology develops and grows, then only we'll know what are the impacts. Sir, I just wanted to see all plastics you use. There are called multi-use plastics and single-use plastics.
Yes.
And I've been told that almost 50% of all plastics is single-use plastic.
Single-use plastic.
And single-use plastic causes the greatest danger to the environment.
Yes.
In one study by National Institute of Oceanography, Goa, they just studied 1 kilometer of Goan beach, and they could recover 1 ton of single-use plastics from that 1 kilometer stretch.
Yes.
And just imagine, India has got about 7,500 kilometers of coastline.
Yeah.
So what will be the emission of this single-use plastics and plastics?
Actually,
in the
as
water?
you mentioned, unfortunately, we are recycling 10% of the plastics.
Only.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
And 90% of the plastics actually, either it is landfilled or either it end up in sea. So because of sea currents, all these plastics are deposited in specific region. And what is the major problem is, so after some years, these plastics get converted into microplastics. And then finally it end up in human beings. So that is one concern.
Enters the food chain.
Yeah.
And then it enters into.
So it enter in food chain, and finally it end up in human beings.
Human body.
So that is one of the major concerns we are facing.
Okay.
And the other thing is, even though this plastic is recycled 1 time or 2 times, then we cannot recycle, because the performance of these plastics may not be in par with what we have.
Okay. So we can recycle only 1 or 2 cycles.
Because I have done one study, and I have used both traditional plastic as well as biodegradable plastics, and I found that after 4th recycling, the properties are coming down. It is nowhere near the virgin material, neat material or virgin material. So that means we cannot recycle further. That's what my understanding, my research, what I understand. And on the other hand, I learned that this recycling also is not environmental friendly because of the emission of carbon dioxide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lot of undesirable emissions are there.
So what my understanding is, we have to go with natural materials.
But one of the reasons why plastic is so famous, it is pliable. It can be taken to any shape, any form. So there's no other natural material which is as pliable as plastic. And so
and other than that, if you look into the industries, we are traditionally using different types of fibers. So why we are interested with plastic rather than metals? One of the reason is it is lightweight, and as you said, flexibility in using, processing is easy. But if you look at the strength of the plastic with metals, it is nowhere near. So therefore, usually what we do is, we do reinforcement with the fibers, synthetic fibers.
Synthetic fibers,
So usually what we do is
rayon, nylon, and all those.
We usually, especially for industry, composite industry, or in automotive industry, in aerospace industry, what we do is we make use of carbon fiber, or we make use of glass fiber, or we make use of Kevlar fiber, etc.
Kevlar fiber.
So that you can reinforce with plastic, and you will get enough strength, and it will be in near to what we have with metals.
Okay.
But the problem is, these fibers are not biodegradable. They are highly toxic. They will remain in the earth for another 2,000 years, 3,000 years.
Yes.
So that is the problem. So for that also, we are interested to use natural fibers. So if you use natural fibers instead of these synthetic fibers, you can use it for the same application.
Okay. Natural fibers.
At least you can use it for the interior of aerospace. Airbus or or automobile. You can use interior. You can use it with these materials.
Instead of using plastics.
Instead of using plastics.
Okay, okay.
If you look at this aerospace industry, they are using this natural fiber reinforced plastics for the interior.
Okay, okay.
And already they are using.
Oh, that's good.
And also, if you look at the automobile industry, they are already using natural fiber reinforced plastics.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, in fact, even we can make use of biodegradable plastics for example, PLA. So, if you look at PLA have same properties similar to synthetic traditional.
PLA means?
Polylactic acid.
Okay.
Have similar properties similar to that of polypropylene.
Okay.
Or similar to that of polyethylene. So, polypropylene, polyethylene terephthalate, these are the plastics that we widely use for difference of applications. And in fact, you can reinforce with natural fibers or even nanocellulose we can synthesize from natural fiber, and we can use it and we can reinforce it so that you can improve the strength of the material, and you can use it for any application that you are using with the PP, with PE, polyethylene.
Okay. See, I think I think we are going a little too much into the technical aspects. But in corporate world, okay, how does responsible use of plastics encourage corporates to benefit customers and reflects on the profitability of the organizations?
Actually, as I already told, now people are aware of the toxicity of plastic. So that is the reason why people want to make use of natural plastics or natural based plastics or nature based plastics. But based on the profit, companies are interested with the traditional plastics. So if you look at the price of polypropylene or polyethylene, it is just 60 rupees or 50 rupees or even 30 rupees you can buy 1 kilogram.
But other plastics?
On the other hand, if you go with biodegradable plastics, it is 6 times, 7 times more.
Oh,
So that is the reason why, you can make a chair with 1 kilogram of plastics. And if you have an injection molding machine, you can make one chair with approximately 50 rupees or 100 rupees. And you can sell it for 300 rupees.
Okay.
But if you make use of polylactic acid, and if you want to make a chair, it is not possible with 100 rupees. The production cost itself may be 350 rupees, 400 rupees.
Okay.
So the selling price may be 1000 rupees. So that is the reason why, one of the reasons why companies are not interested to make use of biodegradable plastics.
Okay.
But on the other hand, if you look at the European Union, or if you look at United States, they have their own policies. So they are interested to make use of, they are the first in the world to come up with these policies.
To help the environment. Okay.
And recently, I learned that even India have also many policies. And they have taken from European Union.
Okay.
So that's what I have understood.
But at least, even if we take from there, copy from there, that's not a problem.
No,
it's going to benefit
the
natural system, environment.
Yeah.
So it's good that we are at least
we are actually, even all countries are following European Union. Because they are the first making all these policies.
Okay.
So sustainable materials or sustainable, we have to make use of these sustainable materials.
Okay.
So that it should be environmental friendly. And
one last point I would like to discuss is, see, we are not the only living beings on planet Earth. We have animals, we have on land, then we have lot of living animals inside the water. So how are these plastics affecting other living beings than humans?
No, actually, as I already mentioned, these plastics are converted into microplastics, and finally it ends up in human beings. So it did not only end up in human beings, but it end up in all the animals,
fishes,
etc. And in fact, what I understood that in some countries, even many birds and many animals, or even in India, dying because of eating these toxic plastic materials. So in one way or other way, it is actually, it is killing our animals and birds. So we have to come up with something, new solutions. It is not about profit making.
No.
It is about sustainability. So business should be sustainable.
So planet Earth is ready for the next generation of animals and humans.
I already told, if you look at the contribution from the biodegradable materials when compared with synthetic materials, just 1%. But we have 30% increment every year.
Growth. So it is going to boom
that
in the
means
coming years.
In the next 5 years, it will be, instead of it is 1% contribution from this biodegradable plastics, it will be 3%. That means in the next 30 to 40 years, or maybe 20 years or 25 years, definitely it will be 50%. So approximately 50% or nearly 50%.
Big growth.
Yeah. So that is what we are expecting. And so that means all these companies should focus on sustainable approach.
Practices.
Sustainable practices. So that means in long term, we will get the benefit.
Yes.
Rather than going with traditional plastics.
Okay.
And yes, of course, the problem we are facing is supply chain, as you mentioned. So supply chain means, these companies come up with different technologies or different machineries to process all these material plastics. But suppose if we don't have the supply, how we can go ahead?
Yeah, correct. And so
how
do we ensure that all the partners behave in a responsible way?
If you look at this polymer, composite industry, we have composite industry in France. Because they have flax fibers.
Okay.
So with the help of these flax fibers, they come up with a natural fiber reinforced composite for different applications. That's the reason why in Europe, in automobile, we have a natural fiber reinforced composite, or in other European countries, especially in France and all, and also in Japan we have. But unfortunately, we have this natural fiber. We have rich source of natural fiber in India. But if you look at the composite industry, we don't have any composite industry.
Okay.
So that's another reason why we are lagging behind. So if we have a composite industry, then we can make use of all these different fibers, and we can contribute to the composite industry.
Sir, and so I think it was a very excellent discussion, and thank you for all the inputs.
Thank you very much.
And I think I could come up with the business sense, and you came up with the research, chemical sense. So it was very, very contributive, and hope we can have such discussions more in the future. Okay, so thank you very much, Professor.